Two things you might not know about these adorable little puppies: they're $100,000 each, and they're clones. And maybe in a few years, these two things in my hand might be baby woolly mammoths. Welcome to the future.
South Korea is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. It's also the global epicenter for cloning technology. Here, scientists have perfected a Dr. Moreau method for cloning several species, including dogs. And one of their biggest goals? Bringing back the prehistoric woolly mammoth from the flesh of perfectly preserved specimens buried in northern Siberia. At the same time, tusk hunting Siberians looking for mammoth ivory support the Korean cloning project by discovering frozen mammoths in the quickly melting permafrost of the far north. This bizarre supply chain inspired us to travel to Seoul, Yakutsk, and Moscow to learn about humanity's quest to both profit from and resurrect the legendary woolly mammoth. To start off our journey, we hopped on a flight to Seoul, South Korea. Cloning is controversial everywhere in the world.
The international community must act now to send a clear message that human cloning is an affront to human dignity that cannot be tolerated.
People are going to be cloned just for their organs. You get old, then you grow a new guy out of yourself, and then just take your brain out and throw it in the new body.
And we will ensure that our government never opens the door to the use of cloning for human reproduction.
Are we acting more like the creator than creatures? Are we trying to play the role of God and all this?
In South Korea, the cloning of animals is not just accepted, it's a business. At Suam Biotech Labs in Seoul, you can have your favorite pooch cloned for $100,000. The lab is ground zero for cloning and is led by Dr. Hwang Woo-suk, a South Korean scientist with an alleged shady past. He also partners with a Siberian laboratory that supplies him with frozen mammoth meat found in the Russian far north.
My team already have tried to find the intact cell from frozen mammoth tissues from Siberia. The potential surrogate mother will be the Asian elephant. Very difficult process. I think we have to try.
복제라는 기술이 1950년도에 처음 브릭이라는 박사가 처음으로 이제 아이디어를 냈거든요. 개구리알 가지고 했거든요. 개구리알의 세포를 난자의 세포를 핵을 제거한 다음에 그 배반포 세포를 집어넣어서 복제를 하는 그런 아이디어를 근데 그때 동시대에 있던 모든 사람들은 이거는 말도 안 되는 일이다 라고 일축했거든요. 그리고 정확하게 50년 있다가 체세포를 가지고 돌리가 복제가 됐습니다.
Why clone the mammoth?
그 지구상에 누군가는 해야 되지 않을까 싶은 생각이 들거든요. 그게 우리가 아닐까 하는 생각이 들고 복제 기술도 발달돼 바이어블한 그 살아있는 세포만 있으면 할 수 있을까, 할 수 있지 않을까 하는 생각이 듭니다. 재밌지 않을까? 어떤 게 태어나면?
Hey, buddy. You okay?
Michael and Jackson.
Michael and Jackson?
Michael and Jackson.
So these two are the exact same?
Yes.
So far, they've proven cloning isn't science fiction, it's reality. Some of these dogs are deliberately genetically modified to carry markers.
These dogs right here are being cloned for Alzheimer's research, but to verify that they actually are clones, they've made these claws fluorescent, sort of like a fluorescent green. Their claws glow in the dark. I've had 3 dogs in my life. None of my dogs had claws that could glow in the dark, as if they were like in a club, ready to party.
But how does cloning actually work? Basically, Dr. Hwang and his team take the egg of a living dog They remove the nucleus from the egg and swap in the genetic materials from a desired clone. The egg is then shocked to kick off cell reproduction, and the growing egg is inserted into the surrogate mother. In other words, this surrogate was impregnated with the cloned eggs of a Boston Terrier from the pet of an American client. She successfully gave birth to a clone of an identical dog thousands of miles away.
In a few years, this could be an Asian elephant that's bummed out about, birthing this giant mammoth. And then we're all waiting with bated breath to see if the Asian elephant would accept the 30,000-year-old beast.
What would you say to people who say Suam is playing God?
시베리아에 있는 맘모스는 시베리아 기후 때문에 동결되어 있는 조건에 묻혀 있거든요. 그래서 신의 영역이 아니라 인간으로서 돌릴 필요는 있지 않을까 하는 생각이 듭니다. 네.
So how do we get from cloning dogs to cloning an animal that's been extinct for almost 4,000 years? Turns out, it's pretty difficult. First of all, finding a living cell from frozen mammoths found in Siberia isn't easy. In fact, researchers regularly take flesh samples from Buttercup, the most famous frozen mammoth to date, to find the key to what will hopefully allow them the chance to resurrect the legendary hairy elephant.
So my hands right here is several pieces of 40,000-year-old mammoth tissue. It looks like wood chips, but this is the stuff that could possibly clone and bring back the mammoth from its extinction. So in other words, I'm literally holding a plot line from Jurassic Park in my hands.
Once they find that living mammoth cell, the plan is to insert it into an egg of an Asian elephant, the mammoth's nearest genetic relative, and have the Asian Ellie give birth to its freaky clone calf from the Ice Age. We sat down with a Suam scientist to find out exactly what we can expect from cloning technology in the future.
If we can bring back the extinct species, it also means that we can somehow be able to help endangered species using our cloning process to repopulate them and help them reestablish into their environment.
Why exactly do you want to bring the mammoth back?
Because it's available, that we are starting with the mammoth. Other big mammals that have gone extinct, if we are able to find a sample, then we would really love to try cloning them.
The mammoth's the one you have access to. Maybe it's a hairy rhino. What if you got like a Neanderthal?
Maybe there will be an interest. Because it's still sort of considered human cloning, I'm not sure if it will be legally allowed. Or
would you clone yourself?
I don't think we'll be able to clone like a complete human being.
You don't think so?
No, like legally or?
Because the thing is, right now you clearly could. If you were allowed to, the gloves were off, cloning's the name of the game, you probably could do it.
Theoretically, yes. In my case, I'm not sure if I would like to clone like a complete human copy of me, but I think like, cloning maybe an organ for medical purposes or cloning tissues or the stem cells actually would be very helpful in the future.
You bring back the mammoth, is it just going to be in a zoo?
If we are successful and if we get a mammoth, they will prepare an environment where the mammoth can survive and the mammoth can live. The closest would be Siberia, the tundra.
It's like you're creating the tool and the research around it, and the world can kind of do what it will with it.
It's the policymakers that, like, in the end, decide up to where this technology can be applied.
And Dr. Wang has tested some of these policies in his cloning pursuits. After allegedly falsifying human stem cell cloning studies and allegations of embezzlement, Suam's lead scientist, Dr. Wang, admitted he spent private donations in the early 2000s to pay off the Russian mafia for mammoth tissue samples. But he withstood the controversy, and some of his charges have since disappeared. We followed Dr. Wang to a remote area outside Seoul to witness his latest cloning endeavor.
We're on our way to Suam Labs clone farm. We're actually going to see some cloned cows that are more resistant to foot and mouth. And the government's actually tried to have him do that in order to combat some of those problems within Korea.
그래서 이제 저런 소가 커서 많이 우리가 이양이 된다면은 우리 육질도 좋고 또 소도 크고 아마 10년 정도만 되면은 우리 대한민국도 곳곳에 우리가 지금 이러한 배양된 소를 우리가 좀 먹을 기회가 있지 않나 이런 생각을 합니다.
So these are the cloned cows?
Yeah.
And how old are they?
5 to 7 months old.
Are they all the same clone?
Two kind of original. 얘가 대리모고, 서로게인 머더고 제가 클론 캡이에요.
I know that there's other cloners, if that's what you guys are called. There's another one in Korea, if I'm not mistaken. There's also another guy in Japan. Why did they choose Suem?
We were the first team to successfully clone a coyote from a dog.
But the meaty question of the present? Where's the mammoth meat coming from, and who finds these frozen beasts? To find out, we headed to the coldest city on Earth to meet the gray market mammoth hunters who not only find the mammoths used for cloning, but also make a little cash on the side from the beast's most defining feature.
So we just landed in Siberia. It's minus 30. We're gonna warm up because I need a fresh babushka to give me a hug because it's cold as hell right now. Half my face is hair and I'm still cold.
Like the beaver in Canada or the bald eagle in America, the woolly mammoth is a cultural icon for Russia. Ever since prehistoric man roamed the Siberian ice plains, humans have been discovering the tusks and frozen bodies of mythical hairy elephants. Throughout history, scientists have flocked to Siberia in hopes of encountering the frozen bodies of woolly mammoths, while natives traded the tusks in the ivory trade. With climate change melting permafrost in the Arctic, more mammoth parts laying dormant since the Ice Age have been reappearing, still frozen. Tusk hunters go to northern Siberia to gather mammoth ivory in an increasingly lucrative and dangerous trade. Competing hunters have even been known to engage in gunfights, all to ship the ancient ivory to traders who turn to mammoth tusks instead of illegal elephant ivory. Our source told us local tusk hunters were on high alert. With our fixer negotiating, they finally agreed to show us the goods.
How much does this cost? Do people fight for these?
Борьба идет, чтобы тех людей, кто нашел, купить. У них берут особенно богатые люди.
After the tusk hunters have divided their stash in northern Siberia, they sell off parts of their haul to carving sweatshops, who then turn the mammoth ivory into tourist-friendly trinkets or sell full tusks to foreign buyers. Ivory has become a global commodity, but a large majority of the mammoth goods is packaged up and shipped off to Asia. We decided to check out a local stash of mammoth ivory, destined to be shipped overseas.
Wow, it's a mega stash. So all this stuff they told us is going to China. And in all, this is actually, was it 600 kilograms?
Yeah.
So that's about 100K, they said. Which, given the economy in Russia, is a lot of money.
While it was clear the tusks went to wealthy buyers all over the world, the frozen meat was going straight to South Korea. And the man making that happen is Semyon Grigoriev, a native of Yakutsk and the head of a laboratory dedicated to the mammoth in Siberia. Grigoriev was part of the team bringing Buttercup back to Yakutsk and to the Suem cloning labs where he has a scientific partnership.
This is mammoth bone marrow.
We sampled bone marrow with our Korean colleagues. Nobody found mammoths with soft tissues with so good condition.
Yeah, because it looked almost like a steak.
Best mammoth of the world.
He's also one of the few people in the world to have actually tasted 40,000-year-old woolly mammoth meat.
It is a very, very small piece of mammoth meat.
And how did that taste?
Not bad.
Wow. Looks like a rib that Fred Flintstone would eat. Holy.
I thought we'd be examining Buttercup's leg, but Grigoriev handed me a scalpel and insisted I cut out a meaty sample for the Korean cloning scientists.
It's just like leather.
The skin and muscle tissue, the best samples for trying of cloning mammoth.
Grigoriev also had Buttercup's perfectly intact trunk stashed away in a mini fridge.
Do you think you're actually going to be able to clone a mammoth?
Not very soon, but I hope that at least our children will see live mammoth.
We're walking through the open air Yakutian market where you can actually buy frozen 200-pound salmon and pike and even reindeer meat. And the interesting thing is, when you say the word mammoth, people's ears perk up and they all want to talk to you about it. And people start saying where you can find it in the north.
Ценность земли духа, поэтому нельзя заниматься поисками мамонтовых костей в землю. И если, например, кто-то этим занимается, он может навлечь на себя грех, на семью, это опасно.
Even Vladimir Putin wants to profit from the mammoth. President Putin recently came to Yakutsk to see firsthand how close we are to actually cloning the Ice Age beast. Since Yakutsk is the big hairy elephant capital of Russia, we headed to a local factory where artistic carvers work year-round with mammoth ivory.
So basically they take this piece of extinct animal tusk and they turn it into this thing. It just gets whittled down.
It's clear, while the mammoth has been extinct for only a few thousand years, it was still a large part of Yakutian culture. Our next stop was Moscow to meet one of the godfathers of mammoth ivory and discover the major reason driving the market's interest in the prehistoric creature. Russia is a wild and wonderful place. Whether it was shooting guns with our mustache driver on the side of a highway or a vodka bar in a museum, Russia was surreal.
We're going to be meeting who is ostensibly the mammoth tusk oligarch of Russia. He's one of the biggest mammoth tusk dealers in the world. He's even found 2 frozen mammoths. We're going to do banya and drink vodka with this guy. His name is Nikolai. Apparently he loves wearing weird hats.
Before this mammoth ivory dealer even discussed a tusk, he wanted to vet me in the fires of the Russian banya.
Turn. Yes.
Oh, I'm good.
Oh.
After that, Nikolai finally sat down for mammoth talk.
After embargo for elephant, people start to sell mammoths. Before, nobody wanted. Bigger than better. But the biggest mammoth tusk, it's 1 meter, 25 centimeters.
How much?
I got maybe 50,000 US for this tusk. It's a business without some rules.
What do you think about the mammoth coming back?
Why not?
A few days later, Nikolai agreed to take us to 2 stashes of mammoth tusks in Moscow.
To be a man, you have to go to Siberia and participate in mammoth ivory expedition.
The first stop, his shady storage locker that looked like a dungeon and had books and mammoth tusks everywhere.
Let's go.
The other, a warehouse of a major exporter and Nikolai's business partner. Little did we know this grimy building outside Moscow was the resting place for the remains of hundreds of prehistoric beasts.
This is all 4 tons in total.
Yes. Look, here 2 tons.
Another 2 tons here?
Yeah.
How many closets full of mammoth tusks do they have?
They actually 4.
Oh.
Cheaper.
Wow. And all of it's probably going to China.
China, yeah.
Thailand.
Yes, because it's elephant countries,
Yeah.
and this is culture.
Yeah.
Their
Vietnam?
culture. Of course, as well. Sometimes in China they make this quality of tusk.
Do you ever think about all of the mammoths that now have their tusks here?
Yeah, it's a business. It's difficult to explain.
While the exporters claim they were legal businessmen, how they got millions of dollars worth of tusks remains a mystery.
I'm standing on top of dozens of pairs of mammoth tusks, and you just think to yourself, how many mammoths just died? None of them would fit in here. Not one would fit in this storage facility, but all of their tusks.
So without wealthy ivory lovers, the rich businessmen wouldn't hire hunters to dig for tusks, meaning the mammoth bodies buried in northern Siberia with their clonable DNA will be lost forever. It's the strange circle of mammoth. But what happens if we actually bring the mammoth back to life? We may have the scientific skill to actually clone this thing, but have we truly considered the consequences of woolly mammoths returning to Earth in the 21st century?